Thank you for joining us here at the Dark Side. I am Paul. This is Eric. If this is your first time joining us, please hit the link. Yeah, hit the link below, and you can fill out the form. Gets all the information. If you are purchasing anything and need it shipped, we do offer $9.99 flat rate shipping anywhere in the country. And we do the invoices on Saturday, so if you get paid on Friday, that's the day to do it. Eric,
Yes.
shall we get started?
Yes, we shall. We got some good books this week.
Let's get started up top here. I think we got Future State.
Yeah. So I really liked Future State Justice League. Because one thing that excited me about this book is that the Green Lantern is Joe Mullen, who was created, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She was created by N.K. Jemisin for a young animal book called Far Sector. I've really enjoyed her as a character, so it was really cool to see her in what is ostensibly a more mainstream, mainline DC book. Plus, the backup story was Justice League Dark. I love DC Supernatural, and
Yes.
if you like Etrigan the Demon, there's an interesting twist
Ooh,
on
now I'm
him
excited.
in the story. Personally, I found the backup to be stronger than the main story, but both are worth your time.
Yes, that seems to be an ongoing thing with the Future States being like the backup stories are sometimes better than the main stories.
And that happens, you know?
Yes. Next up, we've got Sweet Tooth number 3, Sweet Tooth: The Return. I love it. It's so good. We have recently gotten back in stock Volume 1 of the Sweet Tooth Omnibus. This is the original series. There are three thick books like this, cataloging the fantastic Jeff Lemire series. They run $25 each. Definitely worth it. It's so good.
What kind of comic fan would you say might want to read this book?
Fantasy, science fiction. Anybody who's interested in quality art.
Okay.
Introspective.
Who is art on the book?
This book, it's a mix between Jeff Lemire and I forget who the other person is. The original book started off with just Lemire, and I think it branched off. I think he got people
Understood. Okay.
to finish it up for him.
Is that your dream job? Do you think you would want to be Jeff Lemire, but get your own book, write it, do the art for it?
My dream job would be to sort of, but just say, hey, here's an idea, do it. And have other people do my ideas. Yeah.
Like manage
I
an
wanna be-
independent publishing
yeah.
company?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to be an editor at Marvel someday. That's something I've thought about.
Mm-hmm.
I have all the ideas. I'm just too lazy to follow through.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That's how I am 100%. So I guess it's less lazy and more depression.
I've completed one painting in a year.
Hey, that's one painting more than me.
Moving on. Chris Claremont. Tell me about Chris Claremont.
Tell me about Chris Claremont.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, I happen to like X-Men. This is a thing we've established. So I've been very behind on solicits, but when I found out that this was coming out, I knew I had to read it. I love Claremont's run on X-Men. Dark Phoenix Saga is my favorite X-Men storyline, and Kitty's Fairy Tale is my favorite single issue of X-Men. And this is a really good, really fun story. It follows Danielle Moonstar, or Mirage, as you might know her, dealing with some ordeal from Hela, though at first we don't really know the specifics of it. And you get to see all sorts of characters from throughout the Marvel Universe show up, and it's a fun time. It's certainly not Claremont's best work. However, if you like Chris Claremont and you want a Claremont story, this is a Claremont story, and it's a hell of a fun read.
I think the cool thing about it is it's a new story from him, and it's like every couple pages is a different artist.
Yes.
So it's like a whole bunch of artists, like his friends and like people who admire him, all got together and put this book together. So that's really cool.
It's also really cool because it's not just an X-Men centric book. This celebrates a lot of different things that Claremont has worked on, even though it does mostly focus on X-Men related characters. You still do see a lot of things that are very much not X-Men.
That's cool. That is cool. So next up,
My pick for the week
Is it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Homesick Pilots #2. Just as crazy as the first one. Lots of fun. Rose, what did you like about it?
Well,
Besides the horseshoe head design.
like just kind of, it's a pretty novel idea, and
Mhm.
I saw it described as The Shining meets the Power Rangers wrapped in the 90s aesthetic. I get what they were going for. I get it.
Interesting.
Um yeah, it's just kind of a fun, spooky read, mystery story. I really, really enjoy it, and plus it's only issue 2.
Yeah.
We have several copies of issue 1,
Yes.
so if that's something that interests you, you can jump into that series right as it's starting out. So.
Yes, it's really fun. Like she said, it's spooky, really cool artwork, really cool like interior design. Not like interior home design, but design in on the page. I would say more. It's more of a Shining meets like SLC Punk.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
And yeah, the art. The first issue, it had that great like
Yeah,
spiral art.
Yeah.
Is so cool.
Yeah.
Would you say that this is a book that I would like or no?
You may. I mean, like for like a horror book, it's not overly graphic. It's not
Okay.
vulgar. It's not obscene. It's. I think it's gonna lean towards. It's probably going to be my word of the night. Introspective.
Okay.
It's going to be introspective. I mean, it's already hinting at it now.
Good to know.
But yeah, no, it's really good, really good. On that second tier, what do we got? That is another Future State. That is the Dark Detective. That is another Batman title. We don't really need to go into that. If you like Batman, check it out.
It's worth noting that while the other one focused on Luke Fox, this one is specifically a Bruce Wayne story. Right. So if you like Bruce Wayne,
he's still not dead.
Yes, he's not dead yet.
And then after that, Darth Vader #9,
which Kaylee Larson is definitely looking forward to.
Excellent. I haven't loved Pac's run, but I've heard that after I stopped reading, it got a lot better.
I've had 3 people today hope that a character doesn't die, and I'm not caught up on the Darth Vader comics, so I don't know who that character is. So this seems like could be a crucial issue.
For their sake, I hope that character doesn't die.
I hope they do.
Wow, Rose, showing your cruel streak already.
Yes.
It's not even 8 yet.
We all know she goes just downhill at 8 o'clock. It's
Yep.
just anger
like
and violence.
That's when she starts throwing things at me. She just edits it so you guys can't see it.
It's true.
Yes. Next up, we've got Marauders.
Yes.
Tell us about the Marauders.
Okay. So, I have not been reading this book until this issue. I thought it was a good idea to read because we wanted to highlight this lovely Aliens variant cover.
Which was the only Alien cover this week as opposed to last week where we had like a bazillion of them. This is the only one this week. We still have a few. And yes, if Danielle Erickson is watching, it's in your file.
And I'm really glad I decided to pick it up. This is a book where some stuff happened, sort of turned me off to it, but I'm glad I gave it a second chance. It's got some sort of political intrigue. It's got pirate stuff. It's got Kitty, who now goes by Kate Pride, being awesome. It's got Emma Frost. Like, this book is just great. If you've been enjoying any of the current X status quo, this book has been great. And this cover, in addition to being a really cool cover, it's actually a callback to an older cover. So back during the Claremont run, during the Brood saga, Uncanny X-Men 143 had a cover with a Brood creeping up on Kitty with a flashlight. And this cover is a lovely homage to it. I mean, lovely might not be the right word, but I think it's a great cover. And like I said, I haven't been reading a lot of the book until this issue, but this cover made me realize I had to pick it up, and I'm glad I did.
It's really cool that they got to do that with the Xenomorph because the Brood is just a ripoff of the Xenomorph.
Basically.
Yeah,
Design-wise.
definitely.
Anyway.
Very Geiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I came in tonight, I just saw you just like voraciously reading it. I was like, I'll leave him be.
All right. More future state. How about a little Green Lantern, Eric?
So yeah, this one was a little nostalgic for me because when I first started really reading comics, Green Lantern, specifically Jeff Johns' run, was what got me into reading comics more. So I was excited for this. I will say this: the main story wasn't my speed, but that's not to say it was a bad story. I thought that it was a very good war story. But war stories are generally not what I like to read. So if you're interested in war stories, this is a story for you. However, to me, just like with the Justice League issue, the best parts of this story are the backups. You have an excellent Jessica Cruz backup story where she is without her power ring on a space station and has to deal with that. And then a Guy Gardner backup story.
Jessica Cruz is Far Sector, right?
No, that's Joe Mullen. So Jessica Cruz was introduced during Jeff Johns' Justice League run, and then became a Green Lantern. But she's great. I love her. As someone who suffers with anxiety, she's been a favorite of mine since I first started reading her stories. And this story with her is great. The last page made me gasp. And the I see you smirking, Rose.
I'm just thinking the last page of a comic book is probably like sea monkeys or something.
That's fair. And then the Guy Gardner backup, it was hilarious. If you want a good comedy story, the Guy Gardner backup of this story or of this issue is excellent. I think all three writers did a good job, and the art is really good too. Three very different stories, and I think the differential in art helps with that a lot.
That's good. That is good. Always love some Guy Gardner. Next up, Origins number 3. This is a book that I've really been enjoying. This is where my word of the week comes in. This issue is very introspective. The story thus far is that it's post-apocalyptic. Everything is green and overgrown. There are no humans except for this one guy, and he's kind of being led around, instructed by a robot lady, and he's got another like robot person, and turns out he's the clone of the person who basically ended the world, and they're trying to get him to bring the world back. It's really interesting.
Oh no!
And this issue is very like the robot lady is like, am I sentient? What am I if I'm not helping you? And he's like, well, I'm a person. Who am I? I'm a clone, but am I the same person? I'm not the same person. Like it's just really good, and the artwork is gorgeous. It's so good. If you like thoughtful science fiction, it's up there.
This is less thoughtful, but this description is just making me think of that Weird Al Yankovic parody. I think I'm a clone now.
Classic. I had that on cassette tape.
Oh, lovely.
What is that next book there? Oh, it's Haha! Haha! One of my favorite books of the week. This is from the writer of the Ice Cream Man series. This is a new anthology book where each issue is a short story focusing on a different clown.
Yikes.
So far, this issue, it's not as scary or creepy as like the Ice Cream Man stories can be. It's weird. It's odd. It's a clown. It's a clown trying to stay positive on possibly the worst day of his life, and it's just really good. Like it's better. I like it better than the Joker movie easily, but it's like similar in tone.
I will avoid comment on that one.
The artwork, especially towards the end of the book, is fantastic.
We love good art here.
And we've got a regular cover, and then we've got the variant cover next door to it. Just really, really good artwork, and it's just told in such a way.
What like is it? So it's unconventional storytelling.
It's first person inner thought monologue.
Okay.
As the story, and like the worst thing could be happening, but he's like, everything is wonderful.
I kind of love.
I'm so lucky.
I love first person monologues when they do them, but I don't think writers do that enough. I think that
Right.
it's a powerful storytelling mechanism, but it's also very hard to get right because it's not easy to get a character's dialogue down, but it's easier when you only have to get their dialogue and not their inner thoughts. Easier.
Join us next week. Eric's going to be teaching a writing class.
No, don't listen to him. I mean, that's just a good rule in general. But
Next up, we're going to join the King in Black. The first issue there is going to be the Gwenum vs. Carnage. It's a pretty fun book. I realized while reading it that I am not hip to the slang that Gwenum, whichever one she is, spouts. But overall, it was really cool. And the person who, I believe it's a two-parter. The person who is on that final page who becomes Carnage is a little bit of a shock. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I haven't read the issue, but I've seen who that is, and holy cow!
Yeah, was not expecting that.
Speaking of King in Black reveals, it's not an issue that we have up here, but for all of you reading King in Black, read Sword number 2. That's all I will say about that.
Which we do have copies of. I don't know why Eric didn't grab one to put on display.
Because I forgot, and I'm a fool. It was very good. I love Abigail Brand. Sword number 2 is great.
Yes. I'm also a fan of green hair.
That's not the only reason I like her.
Yeah. Next up was the Thunderbolts.
Yes. So Thunderbolts, really good. This is a Kingpin who I think is still the mayor of New York City.
I think so.
Kingpin orchestrates a new team of Thunderbolts during King in Black. Some of the major players are Taskmaster, Star, and my favorite character, Batroc the Leaper. This was just so much fun. For all the dark stuff going on, it still never failed to make me laugh. And I think that's important in this kind of book. I also just think Thunderbolts is a really cool concept of having sort of supervillains be expected to do super heroic things, and you get to see a sort of spectrum of morality across these characters, and I really like that. Some of them border on more noble, some of them are very much not, and I think that that's cool to see.
I concur.
I like that. I like that very much. I mean, it's definitely like Marvel's answer to Suicide Squad.
Definitely.
But this specific issue, like really good reintroduction of a lot of beloved characters. Taskmaster's been really incredible lately.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a very good number 1 to get.
I'll admit, I didn't know who a lot of these characters were other than like Taskmaster, Batroc, and Rhino. But this issue does a really good job giving you enough of their personalities so that if you're not familiar with a lot of these characters, you still won't have an issue understanding who the characters are and what they're doing, which I thought was this is Matthew Rosenberg, I think. So this one, yeah, it was Matthew Rosenberg who, his Hawkeye Freefall was also pretty good. So,
so good.
Yeah, so check that out. But this is my favorite of the specifically King in Black tie-ins I've been reading, because I haven't been reading a lot of the main series, but this tie-in and a lot of the others have been great. I've also really liked the Union, but that's for other reasons.
Next is my favorite cover this week.
Is it your favorite cover?
It's my favorite cover this week.
It's a good one. It's another King in Black. It's Planet of the Symbiotes.
Is that like Planet of the Apes, but not?
Yes. This is going to be this. There's 2 stories in this issue. One involves the classic 5 symbiotes kids from Venom, like Venom's offspring, where like Scream is continuing her like kind of anti-hero. She's saving a child from being eaten by the other children of Venom. And then the follow-up story takes place at Ravencroft. And I did not know that, what's his name, J. Jonah Jameson's son, was in charge of Ravencroft.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Ravencroft also comes up in Thunderbolts.
And so apparently underneath Ravencroft is a crypt,
Yes.
and I think it's supposed to be Cletus Cassidy's ancestor is buried there, and
weird.
he was a former disciple of Null.
Does that actually make any sense?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Comics, everyone.
Yeah,
Cool concept, though.
And so the cool thing is, you get what's his face becoming a werewolf.
John
yeah.
Jameson? Excellent.
And Misty Knight shows up
Everyone
like-
loves Misty Knight.
out of nowhere. I don't know if she works there. She's just there. Like,
You don't work.
There's no lead up to her being there. Just all of a sudden she's there.
Misty Knight Guidance Council.
And it's just wild. But it was fun.
Okay, and our last new issue of the week.
Last new issue.
Personal favorite of yours.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
It's got a curse word in it.
It does. And you know what? This follows my word of the week, introspective. Because this is not Space Bastards. It's distributed by Humanoids, which is a British distributor. I think they're British. They do a lot of they import a lot of the European sci-fi comics. Alexandra Jodorowsky's stuff is published through them. But recently, Mark Waid has become their publisher or their editor. I think he's the head publisher.
That's cool.
So he's been kind of revamping it. There's a bit more of not so much superhero stuff, but it's a little more mainstream, still keeping that Euro style. And this is not superhero at all. This is the Postal Service gone mad. It is
Topical.
It's violent. It's imagine you get UPS to pick up your package. The person who picks it up doesn't necessarily deliver it. All of the delivery people are killing each other because whoever delivers it gets paid. And so it's kind of like Lobo if he was a post officer. Post officer.
Okay, that's kind of incredible.
It's really fun, and the main character is a guy down on his luck. His girlfriend left him. His dad wants nothing to do with him. He lost his job. He's like, I'm just gonna join up, and it's him on his first day of work. It's pretty radical.
Very good number one.
It's awesome.
If Quentin Tarantino made a movie out of it, it'd be called Introspective Bastards.
You think?
Yeah. I thought of that joke 3 minutes ago. I was very excited about it.
Listen,
yeah.
I'm glad I'm not in that book because I think if I worked here and my coworkers were trying to kill me, oof, that wouldn't be good.
No, I would not want to work with people that were trying to kill me.
Uh-oh, Rose has a look on her face.
She just grabbed a knife.
This will be our last broadcast because our producer is going to kill us.
It'll be his last broadcast.
Paul, don't flatter yourself.
I'm going to get on my bike and zoom away. Right.
Who needs a car chase when you can have a bike chase?
So,
back issue time.
That's it for new releases this week. We're going to move over to our back issues.
And Ruben definitely wants that Xenomorph cover.
Excellent.
We'll make sure you get that in your box.
Why didn't he buy it when he was here earlier?
It's not it for my bad jokes, though.
He's dead to me anyway.
All right. So
rest in peace, Ruben.
Our first batch of back issues is going to be something we've already had before. It is the entire 12-issue run of Vision and the Scarlet Witch. This is their second mini-series together. This one is a lot more maxi than the first one. First one was only 4 issues. This one is 12. Unfortunately, they are in varying conditions. So any of the ones that have the prices on them, those are going to be cheaper than the ones that don't. It'll be $5 otherwise. Or if you want the whole set, it's $40, which is a steal for 12 issues of comics. And of course, we pulled these back out because this Friday is everybody's anticipated show. Everybody's excited for it. I cannot wait to go home from work on Friday and watch 3 episodes of WandaVision.
Are all 3 dropping Friday?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. I thought it was just 1. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 on Friday, and then it's going to be 1 each.
That makes sense. That's cool.
Very, very excited about this. And before I saw the trailers, like I was never a huge Vision Scarlet Witch person, but they got me.
It's looking good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I have a theory that it's only going to be the first season or first episode or two where it's all like TV land, and then it just goes
Bonkers.
blows up and goes crazy.
Oh, definitely.
That would be interesting.
Yes.
Very good. So that whole series is how much again?
All 12.
Tana, the Devil's Daughter.
Yes.
This is a character I'm not very familiar with.
Well, she's Damien Hillstrom's sister.
Okay, that makes sense.
And this is her she's appeared in issues before. This is her first solo issue.
Okay. Is it a have you read this one? Is it a good one?
I have not read it. No.
Okay.
But Satana.
We hope y'all enjoy some good supernatural stuff. This next issue is more than meets the eye.
It is indeed.
Because it's Transformers.
Because if you lift up that price tag, it will tell you that it is the dawn of Devastator.
Oh, that makes sense. I was trying to figure out who that was, and that does track that is how you would draw Devastator.
So I'm not sure if that's Devastator's first appearance in the comic book or not.
That scans that it would be.
That is issue number 10 of the original Marvel run.
This is one I recommend. The Marvel Transformers comics are bonkers, and they're just so much fun. I need to get a number one because they can't reprint that one because it has Spider-Man in it.
Fun.
But it's also probably super expensive. So I hope this goes to a good home to someone who loves Transformers and Devastator. Next up, we have Carol Danvers versus MODOK. This is a cool issue because Miss Marvel, when Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel. And this is cool because we recently had the announcement of the second Captain Marvel movie, and we have a MODOK TV show coming up soon. So that's just a cool little coincidence there. I think this would have been during the Claremont run, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, Carol Danvers, a classic character, MODOK, a classic villain. Just a really cool cover, too. And it has Deathbird, who is a Shi'ar villain as well, which is kind of cool. This next one, everyone's...
I'm sorry, I haven't thought about the Shi'ar in like so long. What they've been doing? What them space people been doing?
I don't actually know. I think they were part of something recently. Have they been up to anything since Vulcan died? They came back to life? I don't know. So, speaking of things people like, we have the 90s in one cover, or as some of you know him, Cable.
Yeah.
This is the second printing of his first appearance. Now, you will notice that this is priced at a much lower price than a first printing would be. This is a steal. It's not an easy issue to find a lot of the time, and when you can find the first printing, it's a large amount of money. So
Yes.
if you want to own Cable's first appearance but don't feel like ponying up a lot of money,
I think we had a decent conditioned copy of the first printing for in the store for like 180-ish,
Yeah,
and that's like maybe at the 6 point range, not even like an 8.
exactly. Like, this is a great value if you just want to own the issue and don't care about what printing it is. Plus, personally, I kind of like the gold background a little better than the red.
Yeah,
I think it pops more.
I think they missed an opportunity to make his eye the gold.
Oh, you're so right. That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
This is why Paul's an artist and I'm not.
What's that called? The metallic-y. That's a process. It's a thing. I don't remember what it is. Well, no, it's like, you know how some covers are like variegated and things like that.
Yes, I don't know what the process.
Foil.
It's not embossed, if that's what you're thinking.
Well, moving on from Rose having an existential crisis about cover treatments.
Devin says foil embossed.
But it's not
Everybody
embossed.
wins.
Embossed would be like,
I know.
Just this once, everybody wins. And speaking of cable, why have just one cable issue? You can have another cable issue. This is the first issue of his solo series, and some secrets behind X-Force's mysterious leader.
Also, the first appearance of that rockin' goatee.
You're right. I will admit, like, you know, Nathan Summers actually looks pretty good with a goatee. I won't lie.
Well, it's refreshing because, like, his dad, whenever he has facial hair, is just going through yet another crisis.
Yeah, you're right.
That's actually crisis.
Oh,
So speaking of his dad,
we're
that's
canceled.
speaking of his dad, that's actually how how he figured out that he was Corsair's son, because whenever he had facial hair, he looked a lot like Corsair, and he's like, wait a second, this might be
the stupidest thing
listen,
I've ever heard.
listen. Chris Claremont is a very good writer, but not
Wait.
every idea he has.
When I have facial hair, I look like this other guy.
Or sorry, that's not how he figured it out. That's when he started to question it.
Okay.
He figured it out when Corsair finally owned up to it and told him like
What
an
if
adult.
Corsair had shaved? Would Scott be like, "Oh, he looks just like me"?
No, I'm just imagining like he drew like a mustache on the inside of his
Yeah.
finger, and he's like in a mirror, and then like he pulls it up, and it just has like this sudden realization.
in which Rose and Paul have murdered me. I am dead. Goodbye. All right. Next up, we have the Spectre. Paul and I both love some of the more horror DC stuff, so we
Yes.
figured it would be appropriate to have this.
And this one has been on the show before. That is artwork. That is cover art by Mike Mignola.
Yes.
Beautiful artwork. Nobody does a rib cage like him. I mean,
What?
check out that rib cage. It's gorgeous.
I mean, you're right, but that's also just like a really weird thing to be the best at, right?
I mean,
It's like I'm the best at drawing. Or it's like Alan Davis is really good at drawing swoopy hair, and Mike Mignola is good at rib cages.
I felt good for his feet.
yes, he's the best.
Good is certainly one word for that.
We
Liefeld is
we
definitely
should
the best.
commission him to draw a character named Feet Man, who's just a ball of feet.
Is that
Feet
like
and
Spider?
pouches.
Is that like Spider? I was gonna say, is that like Spider's Man but feet?
Yes.
Next up, we have two of my favorite characters, Dead Man and the Phantom Stranger. I believe this one has also been on the
this
show
one,
before.
yes, this one's. We've also had this guy before.
Yes. I think this is a really cool cover. I'm not sure if these are like gargoyles or demons, but just some cool looking monsters, and you know, the one cancer monster that Captain America fought the one time.
I like it when Deadman and Phantom Stranger meet up because Phantom Stranger is one of the few people that can talk to Deadman while he's not possessing somebody.
Yes, that's definitely a really good dynamic that we
It
have.
must feel good for Deadman to be seen.
Dead Man deserves friends.
He does. Good old Boston.
Him and Blue Devil. Next up, we have two issues that hold a special place in my heart. Because I love the JSA, an issue of America versus the Justice Society, and an issue of the Flash featuring the Jay Garrick Flash and the JSA. Now, these two are here for a very specific reason, because DC recently announced a Justice Society of America animated movie. which is kind of cool. I'm mostly excited because they announced that Matthew Mercer will be playing Our Man, which is kind of cool for any of you Critical Role fans in the audience.
Never heard of it.
Yes, Froze, noted D&D player, has never heard of Critical Role. I just think it's cool. The JSA is one of those teams that I really like that I felt doesn't always... They're not really as well known as I would like, which is why I'm really enjoying Stargirl, because those characters, even if it's newer versions of those characters, get to see the light of day. And this is also a bonus because Stargirl Season 2, we're learning some more details about. So that's cool. Excited for the shade.
Or Joel McHale, yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Community is one of my favorite shows.
I couldn't tell because of the way you worded more Joel McHale, or the way you said it. I'm excited because we're getting the Shade, who's one of my favorite DC villains. Any Starman fans should be sure to check that out. And I also just, I think this is a really cool cover. I'm getting a sense from the art that it's probably a flashback story in this particular Flash issue.
Can you bring it close to the camera?
This one?
Yeah. There was some glare on it. So.
Absolutely. As you can see, we've got the Golden Age Atom, Dr. Midnight, Our Man, Wildcat, the Golden Age Green Lantern, and of course the Golden Age Flash.
What does it say about Vegas up there?
Featuring a honeymoon in Vegas.
Ooh, Nicolas Cage.
So I think it's I think this is
we have a special guest.
Somebody's knocking at our back door.
I think the story is Jay Garrick's honeymoon, which is cool. While Paul does that, let's move on to the next issue, which is Doctor Strange Fate. I believe we've had this issue on before as well. I love Amalgam, and I love Doctor Strange and Doctor Fate. This was actually an issue that was important to me because in the DC versus Marvel trade actually contained this issue, and that was an important trade for me back in the day. So it's really cool that we have this issue here. It's a fun story, and if you like mashups of characters, you get to experience that. And I have to say, the first time I read this issue, the identity of Doctor Strange Fate was definitely a surprise.
I am such a fan of the Amalgam comics.
They're so good.
Who's your favorite mashup?
So, I mean, other than Doctor Strange Fate, who I really love, it's probably Dark Claw because they just take both of those characters and put them over the top.
I was going to jokingly say Dark Claw.
Fair.
Well, I mean, guys, such an edgelord. I love him.
I'm not normally
to the max.
Yes, I'm not normally the hugest fan of Batman or Wolverine, but when you mash them up in the way that they did,
like Dark Claw seems like one of those characters that would have been in like the Tick comics.
Yes.
Like just takes himself way too seriously.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Though I also really love. I think he's called Super Soldier, the Captain America Superman.
Yeah.
Because JLX was one of the issues I had back in the day, and that was a lot of fun. With they fought. It's a combination of Fin Fan Foom, and I can't remember who he's merged with, but that was a good one.
Mr. Mitzelpick.
Maybe.
No.
Just to make the world's worst name.
Fin Fan Viscoplex.
Mixius Fiddlick. Speaking of mashups, the last one over here we have is Superman Speeding Bullets.
Yes, that's such a cool one.
I haven't actually read it, but I've been meaning to. It sounds neat.
Yeah, it's one of those Elseworlds that DC used to do, which is basically what the Future State is. It's an Elseworlds. And this one, Kal-El crashes in Gotham, and he's adopted by Tom and Martha Wayne, and he grows up to be Batman, but he has, Superman's powers. I think his name is actually Clark Wayne. They keep the Clark because
weird.
Yeah.
Why does that seem like such a bad name?
Clark Wayne seems like someone that would be like John Wayne's like estranged cousin.
I see it more as like a frat dude. Like,
you're right.
I'm Clark Wayne.
I think more like a British upper class frat, like those awful clubs
Yacht club.
do horrendous things.
But yeah, my favorite part about the Speeding Bullet is that the Joker isn't the Joker; it's Lex Luthor.
Oh, that's awesome.
And this is early '90s, where Lex Luthor was like a larger, portly fellow. So you have this like Joker character with a bald head, just like with like a big trench coat, and it's just so weird.
So like a big fat clown guy,
Yeah,
but not John Wayne Gacy.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That was not a reference I thought we were going to make today.
Well, we sold Dalton on the Superman comic.
All right.
It's also
Thank you,
Jan
Dalton.
DeMatteis.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed Dalton. Shall we move to the next?
Sure. Let's move on to the next batch of.
Actually, real quick,
issues.
before we
Yes.
do that, does anyone want to see any covers more closely or anything like that before we move on? You know, sometimes people want to do that.
Brian says we're looking good. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Go spend
Maybe-
time with your family.
I hope you enjoyed your sushi.
A third sentiment.
Great.
Paul has
Probably-
feelings and emotions.
Continuing on with this week's exciting Vision and Scarlet Witch. Again, these have shown up on the show before. The top here, we've got the Vision's first solo miniseries, all 4 issues. Just great artwork on that. We talked about that second issue before, that awesome noir detective look. And then this giant face. I don't remember if it's a good story or not, but if you're looking to catch up on some Vision, this is a good one to do. The Rose is moving about.
She hid us under the camera.
Okay.
Next up, we've got a couple Marvel team-ups. Spider-Man and the Vision. Spider-Man and Scarlet Witch. That's issues 129 and issue 130. Those are both running $4. Good times. The team-up books are always fun. I don't think I've read a Marvel team-up book that I haven't enjoyed.
I'm sure Paul can guess which one my favorite is of the team-ups.
I don't know with you, man.
Spider-Man and Captain Britain.
Oh, of course. Of course it's Captain Britain.
Because it's also the first appearance of Arcade.
All right. Fair.
Rose wasn't with me at Captain Britain, but Arcade, she's on board with that. Fair play, honestly.
Oh, we sold Dalton on the team ups too.
Oh,
Yay.
all right.
Dalton spending money.
Dalton, who's like your dream team up? Like who you haven't seen before?
Good question.
All right. Moving on down to the bottom row. Over there, again, we've had the entire series, the whole 4-issue miniseries on here before. That is the first issue of the Vision and Scarlet Witch, which was their first miniseries together. We only have the first issue this time around. Getting harder to come by since everybody's buying them for cause of the show.
Because of WandaVision, not because of us, to be clear.
Well, we've sold a lot of them.
Yeah, but I guarantee we're not the reason they're selling.
All right. Next up, in the same vein as the Marvel team up, we've got DC Comics Presents. We've got an issue of Superman and Hawkman, and Superman and Mr. Miracle. I know you're a fan of both of those additional characters.
I mostly love Hawkman as a member of the JSA. His solo books tend to not be my favorite, but I love particularly the dynamic that he had with Sand in Jeff Johns' JSA run.
You mean Superman in this particular issue? That was your favorite, right?
Okay. And Mr. Miracle is one of my favorite New Gods. So,
and so this is issue number 11, issue number 12. Those are both $5 each. It's good fun teaming up characters that don't normally work together.
That's why Brave and the Bold was so popular for years.
Yeah, but then it was just them. All right, next up, The Savage She-Hulk, issue number 4. My father, my foe. That is her father.
Also her foe.
Also her foe.
Also a cop.
Also a cop. I didn't know that part.
He's Sheriff Walters. You read the cover.
I didn't read the cover. I only read words that are in squares, not in spiky bubbles.
Good to know.
I mean, that will forever be maybe my favorite like mechanic of comic books is like so much exposition in a speech bubble on a cover. They think to themselves like in full sentences, and love it. I love it so much.
Yes.
Kind of like this Werewolf by Night #2.
Oh, no. Jamie says that we can skip that one. He doesn't want to see that one.
No.
No, not at all.
Too bad, Jamie.
No, show us the werewolf.
Yes. Werewolf by Night #2.
If Jamie doesn't want to see it, he can just go to bed. It's fine.
It is in a little rough shape on the spine here, along the corner. But I mean, this book is 50 years old. I mean,
It's older than me, that's for
You
sure.
can bring it closer.
$18 is the steal. Issue #2. And I cannot wait until they make a Werewolf by Night TV show or movie.
That is pretty sweet.
Yes.
I recently had somebody come in the shop and they asked me for good books for werewolf references for art.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
Interesting.
because they were doing their own werewolf series. So I was like, well, I know what series you absolutely need to look at. And he's like, oh, great. Didn't buy it.
Is it
But
is
really
it
liked it.
is the one series the 6 issue arc of Captain America where he becomes Catwolf?
Oh.
Yes. If any of you are interested in Capwolf, I'm putting together all 6 issues. I just haven't found them yet.
Yeah, we
They
have
will
some
show-
of them.
They will show up sooner or later.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Rose is not.
Give me like Jubilee as a vampire and stuff any day.
I mean, Jubilee as a vampire has potential. They just didn't always make the most of it.
Jamie would like that werewolf.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's why he wanted us to skip it. Gotcha.
When I just first showed it, he was like, quit teasing. Show me that werewolf.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Okay.
All right. The last one in this batch is the movie adaptation of Batman the Motion Picture, starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, in case you could not make his face out. It's a pretty scene-for-scene adaptation. It's pretty good. Maybe you've heard of it.
I have not heard of Batman the movie.
And there are 2 covers for this, and I cannot, for the life of me, figure. I've looked everywhere. I cannot find out what the difference is. Whether one is a second printing, or if it was just a variant cover. But all I can find is just the 2 images. I can't find any statements on them.
Interesting.
Put those up. But yeah, this is one of those awesome. I think it's 100 pages.
It's a faithful retelling
It is a faithful
of
retelling,
the classic.
and it's only going to go up in value with Michael Keaton coming back as Batman.
Which is insane.
It is absolutely insane.
Insane. I mean,
Like 15-year-old me is ecstatic.
he's definitely had a resurgence in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, Birdman definitely.
Yeah.
And then as the Vulture, like a lot of avian themed stuff. But I'm glad to see him. It's just gonna be really interesting.
It's going to be awesome.
I mean, do you think he's gonna keep with like the same personality, like characterization of
Yeah.
the original movie?
I do. Because I mean, like his Bruce Wayne was a bit more lighthearted. Like he, in that first movie, it was like almost everything he said was a joke as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, well, it's just like when I think of like an older Bruce, it's hard to not think about Batman Beyond.
Yes.
And
Well, that's one of the rumors.
but like Michael Keaton's Batman and the Batman in Batman Beyond are very, very different.
Definitely.
Wow. I'll take Michael Keaton over Clint Eastwood any day as Batman.
Was that a rumor?
Well, that was always the fan cast for like any old Batman, like any Dark Knight Returns style Batman. Was Clint Eastwood.
Give me Michael Keaton any day.
Okay, well, we're just gonna show the screen just by itself one more time. So we have lots of Vision and the Scarlet Witch.
That's the Vision miniseries. This is issue 5 and 6 of the Scarlet Witch and Vision. And this is number 11. These are just behind the other ones. That's that whole 12 issue series for $40. 12 issues. Then we've got the Vision and Scarlet Witch number 1 down there from the first 4 issue miniseries. The Superman and Hawkman, Superman, Mr. Miracle, Savage She-Hulk number 4, and Batman the Motion Picture.
Indeed.
Yes. Indeed.
So Brian just said that we picked up Avengers number 57 the other day. Why is that important?
Oh, I believe that is the first appearance of the Vision.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Awesome. That's very cool.
Yes. That will most likely not make it an appearance on the show unless somebody wants to pay for it. I think we're getting it graded, I think.
Yeah.
I'll give you $20.
$20 sold.
Hey.
I wish. So, speaking of comics that are vaguely related to movies, here's the first issue of the Infinity Gauntlet. I read the comic in preparation for Infinity War.
Mhm.
Two were not related, but
Oh no, absolutely not.
But Infinity Gauntlet is great. If you like Mephisto, if you like Death, if you like Thanos, solid book.
I love the idea that Death is a sexy lady.
Yes,
It's
that
just
was
so
a
weird.
definitely a new take on Death. Like
That Brian Pulido would steal and make Lady Death.
the only other female Death I can think of is a very different interpretation, which is Neil Gaiman's
Sandman's Death.
which I think it's cool because Death is often depicted as the man with the scythe, and
Yes.
Well, I love it because it's like, who would have thought of a love triangle
Mhm.
between Thanos, Death, and Deadpool? Like, what?
Yes.
the
And of
greatest.
This is before Deadpool. Deadpool's not in this.
No, but
Yes.
The greatest love story ever told. All right. Speaking of number ones and things related to the MCU, we have Moon Knight number 1.
Yes. Moon Knight number 1. Again, not his first appearance.
Yes.
That was in A Werewolf by Night, which we just sold. Not that issue, but not that issue.
guess
But
what,
yeah.
Jamie?
With the official announcing of what's his
Oscar
face
Isaac?
of Poe Dameron as Moon Knight, we thought we'd bring this guy back out because again, it's only going to go up in value. And I'm not trying to sell people on like the speculation market, but I mean, there's no way that this issue is not going to be
Yeah.
worth
Sure
more.
bet.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you're interested in getting it before it jumps up too high,
Yes.
now would be a decent time to pick it up if you want.
And the same thing with the Paper Girls next door to it.
What is it? Is it getting a movie or a TV show?
Amazon TV series.
Okay. So tell us a little something about it for people who might be
The
interested.
TV series, I haven't seen it.
No, I mean Paper Girls.
Paper Girls is if you are a fan of Stranger Things and time travel, as opposed to Upside Downs. It's that same late 80s vein of for teen, preteen, post-teen. What is that? What's tween? Tween's the word I was looking for. Tween paper girls, paper delivery girls riding around on their bikes when mischief and mayhem happens and time travel, man.
It's also got Brian K. Vaughan for people who
Brian
enjoy
K.
it.
Vaughan, one of the best writers of the past 20 years.
Indeed. If you like Saga or Runaways,
Why the Last Man?
We Stand on Guard.
I want that Why the Last Man. I want it. And COVID has ruined so many things.
Yes.
Go,
At least they
Punch
released
Code.
images of it.
This means Rose has to go punch COVID.
Yes.
Like, no. God, Why the Last Man is one of my favorite series
Yeah.
ever.
No, it's one that I didn't finish a decade ago. So I think I've got like technically one trade paperback left to finish, but it's been so long since I read it. I started rereading it. and like I finished the second trade last week, and it's so good. It's so well told.
Mm-hmm.
Paper Girls is just as good.
All right, so next up we have some old school Captain America issues. This is my fault that they're not in order, and I'm going to fix that. Issues 101 and 102. There we go. I believe this is Silver Age. Is that right, Cole? You know?
I believe so.
Okay, so this is some Silver Age Captain America. Normally, Captain America throws his mighty shield, but on this cover, Captain America is the one being thrown. I love both of these covers. This is a continuous story featuring a villain called the Sleeper. The first one being titled When Wakes the Sleeper, and the second being The Sleeper Strikes. A lot of Silver Age art is hard for me because of the way colorization used to be done, but these covers are phenomenal. If you like old school Captain America, highly recommend them.
Yeah, and again, those are from 1968.
Before I was born.
They could, in theory, be in better condition, but the ones we have, they're pretty doable.
Yes.
No Excalibur, but whatever.
Listen, I like Excalibur, and Rose is required to tease me. It's in the rules. This one's cool. In particular, both covers are good, but I like the one with the Juggernaut better because it's him just walking all over Captain Britain, which is pretty fun. And then Captain Britain saying, "And there's more where that came from," while he looks very beaten up. I think that's actually one of the strengths of this series, that Captain Britain is the character who is usually the butt of the joke, which you don't always see with the strong character in a lot of team books. And I thought that was a really good choice on Claremont and Davis's part to have the sort of strong, powerful one be the one who is often made fun of. Next, we have some Marvel Star Wars featuring Darth Vader, and I think that's Bylord Valance, but I'm not 100% sure. But him being a character who is Valance being a character who is currently in the Bounty Hunters book for Marvel at the moment.
Yeah, I believe that is him.
Okay. This is just a great cover.
What's the likelihood of us seeing him third season of Mando?
Dude, that'd be rad.
Not super high, but not the lowest.
Maybe in one of the spin-offs?
Yeah, I think that's a little more likely. I'm not convinced that Valance is going to make it to the post Return of the Jedi era. So if they do something set a little before that, I think that would be more likely. Because Bounty Hunters was described as a book of characters who don't need to be somewhere specific. So,
but it's not considered Legends, right?
Correct. This issue is, but the
Sure.
current series is considered new canon. Because they decided to bring him back because he was a character that Ethan Sachs, who wrote the Target Vader miniseries, really loved.
And what is going on with the Walking Dead cover?
I believe this is a variant.
It is a variant. I couldn't read the artist's signature underneath the post-it note.
Sorry.
That's like Callahan or somebody I didn't recognize. At first I thought it was Scotty Young, but this is a little before Scotty was doing variants.
Chris Giarrusso after Tony Moore?
Yeah, well, it's based after Tony Moore, as Tony Moore did the original cover, which that is based on.
Gotcha.
What issue is that?
103. I'm not usually a Walking Dead fan, but I like this cover. I mean, I like the more cartoonish style. It sort of does a lot to diffuse sort of the more violent nature of the Walking Dead.
Well, and that issue especially because they fight zombies in that one.
Rose cracking jokes? What's going on? That doesn't happen very much.
This is now my favorite of our back issues tonight, the New Mutants.
Yes. So we decided to include this one this week because of the Chris Claremont anniversary special and the fact that issue features Danny Moonstar. Danny Moonstar being one of the founding members of the New Mutants. So you have Danny, you have Wolfsbane, you have Karma, you have Cannonball, and you have Sunspot, and the old bald guy, but nobody cares about Professor X.
The old bald guy.
I love the New Mutants, and this graphic novel is a really good way that the series started, and it's just a cool thing to have. So, while this is more expensive than a lot of the other issues we have, we felt it was that this was a good week for it, given the Claremont Anniversary Special, and I hope it goes to a good home.
And that's such a classic cover.
It really
Yes.
is. Those early New Mutants books had some of the best art.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Like this is McLeod, but I think my definitive New Mutants
Let me
artist
guess.
is
Bill Sienkiewicz?
yes, it's Bill
Sienkiewicz?
Sienkiewicz.
Sienkiewicz?
Sienkiewicz. I love Bill Sienkiewicz. Okay.
Yes. No, he's one of the few artists that I actually like follow on social media.
I follow Walt Simonson on Facebook because he posts some cool stuff.
Yeah.
I should follow Sienkiewicz.
Sienkiewicz is like still like super prolific. Like at the end of the year, like he on Facebook, like he went through and posted like portraits he did for like people who had died, and it was just after
He was
one
both
after another. Like
he was both in the most recent issue of Marvel. He did a story both as writer and artist,
that's cool.
and I believe he did some of the art in the Claremont Anniversary Special as well.
I don't think I've ever read anything that he's written. I don't think that's
He doesn't
too
write
often.
much.
Yeah.
And also, anyone else interested in Sienkiewicz, he did some of the art on the recent The Question, The Deaths of Vic Sage
Yes.
miniseries.
Written by
Jeff Lemire,
Jeff Lemire.
one of our favorites on this show. And our last back issue, before we get to some lovely trades, is The Tomb of Dracula. Paul, take it away.
It's the Tomb of Dracula. What else you need?
A Tombstone of Dracula?
No. No. That's all. Tomb of Dracula.
What about this one? Like, why is this one special?
It features what's his name? George Harrison in Love Bites.
Yes.
Like George Harrison?
What's his name?
Oh,
The tan guy. Watchers that know who I'm talking about.
I don't know who you mean.
Hamill, George Hamill. Shoot, the
George
guy.
Hamilton.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the fake spray tan guy.
This,
not
this,
George Harrison.
this was the first issue of Tomb of Dracula, right? But a collector's version of it.
Yes.
Classic Marvel horror series. And at first, I believe it was not related to the Marvel universe, and then later became.
They did that with like Frankenstein as well.
Yeah. Dracula being a classic X-villain as well, showing
Yes.
us fighting Storm.
So one last look at these books. So again, we have.
Yeah. Yep. The Infinity Gauntlet 1, Moon Knight 1, Paper Girls 1, Captain America 101 and 102, Excalibur 2 and 3, Star Wars 29, and this is the original Marvel Star Wars series, The Walking Dead 103, the New Mutants graphic novel, and the Tomb of Dracula #1 collector's edition.
There's some good books.
Yeah. 2 really good issues of Excalibur, an excellent New Mutant story, and then like these 2 right here are just classics. And Paper Girls is excellent as well, from what I've heard.
It is excellent, and Dalton would like that, please.
Okay.
It's so good. It's one of those books that like when I started reading it, it just kept going, and I was just like, I started reading it after several of the trades had come out, and then I had to start waiting for it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so mad because I just wanted to read it.
That was honestly me with the first of the 2 hardcovers we're about to talk about.
Yes.
Which we are right now.
Well, let's first, the only new trade paperback collected books that we have this week. This is the only thing that came out this week, which is The Vision and Scarlet Witch. Both of those mini-series that we've been selling, they're both in here, along with a couple extra stuff. This is $40 for the collected versions. So it's got that 1 through 4, the 1 through 12, and a couple extra issues.
It's got some West Coast Avengers in there as well.
Yes.
Always underrated.
So if you don't want to collect the issues, they already collected them for you.
Nothing wrong with a good
Yes.
trade paperback.
And then after that, we just thought we'd pick some favorites because it was a light week in new releases. So, Immortal Hulk, my favorite thing that Marvel has released in the last like 2 years. It is just issue by issue the best.
Yeah, I'm liking the X-Men stuff a bit more, but I'm biased. But Immortal Hulk is still one of the best things Marvel's doing right now.
It's every issue has cover art by Alex Ross, and I'm furious that like I just want to look at them all at the same time. Like I just want to see all of his beautiful, beautiful Hulk horror art. It's
Marvel, get on that.
glorious.
Make a poster book just for Paul.
Coffee table book? I could see that.
That would be cool.
Just of his
Gallery book, yeah.
like they do art like the books, but I just want them big. I want a giant Alex Ross Hulk book. Just be gorgeous.
Giant size Alex Ross.
Yeah. These are the hardcovers, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I believe they both cover 10 issues, so that's the equivalent of like 2 trade paperbacks.
Yep.
So you get issues 1 through 10, 11 through 20. It's just the best. Al Ewing at his best.
Yep. They're 35 each, so a little more than buying the 2 trades. But in my opinion, for the hardcover, it's worth it. They last longer, and also this is just an excellent series and worth.
Yes. The Immortal Hulk. It will be immortal in your heart.
Probably.
That's the face I was looking for from Rose.
I will say that like this is a horror Hulk book,
Mm-hmm.
so if you are not as much into horror, this might be not the book for you.
Yes, it is. I was gonna say it's not gruesome, but it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
But it's Marvel gruesome. It's not like a Hellraiser movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot of body horror, a lot of contorted flesh. It's awesome.
Sorry,
And just
I'm
like
not
the
laughing
stories,
at the contorted flesh. I'm
the
laughing at
places the story goes throughout the run is just. I never would have thought to put Bruce Banner in those situations.
We all know that the real reason to read this book is the appearance of Dr. Linkowski, aka Sasquatch from Alpha
I was going to
Flight.
say the Grey Hawk, but of course you had to go with
Oh,
Alpha Flight.
Canada.
All right. And then down here, this is a book that I don't know. It feels like it just got under the radar forever and ever. It's Joelle Jones's first written book. It's her first
As a writer?
As a writer, yeah, it's her first creator-owned property, and it's just. I read a bit of it back in the day, and then I recently picked up the hardcover, and I just read through it, and it's just so good. It's basically it's Mad Men meets Dexter in a way.
Fun.
Yeah, it's an early '60s housewife who's also an assassin, and then her Assassin's Guild wants to kill her. It's just so good.
What kind of comic fans do you think would enjoy this?
People who enjoy like thrillery stuff.
Okay.
There's also a fair amount of humor in it as well, and there's that whole '60s niche culture,
I love that mid-century stuff.
Yeah, and her artwork is just gorgeous in it. If you aren't familiar with Joelle Jones's name, she's the one who relaunched Catwoman last year. She wrote and did the art for that.
She's also currently working on Future State Wonder Woman.
Yes, that's the reason I popped back and reread them, because after reading Wonder Woman I was like, oh
yeah. She's great.
So good. So good. And the last of the trades we have up here is the recently released collected edition of Harrow County. It is omnibus number 1. I believe it has the first 3 trade paperbacks in it. And this is the best horror book of the last decade. I mean, just look that.
And it's Colin Bunn, who we love.
The artwork is just stunning and gorgeous. It's Tyler Crook doing the artwork. This was the first thing I knew him from, and I've seen his artwork in other things subsequently. It's just gorgeous. That is, what is it? $30 for 16 issues.
Pretty good.
So that's actually the first 4 trade paperbacks.
So, what's Harrow County about?
It is early century. It's like 1920-ish, 1930-ish, I think. Um, and it's just this little girl lives on a farm. She's like 12 or 13. Uh, and it all takes place in a place called Harrow County.
What genre of horror would you situate in, just so people get a flavor?
Folk horror.
Okay.
It's definitely if you were into something like The Witch, the movie The Witch, which keeps coming up. It's that kind of horror. It's really hard to describe.
Understood. The best comics often are.
It's the series is over, but they've recently started doing Tales from Harrow County, which have other writers and other artists working on it.
That's cool.
Yeah, if you're in the mood for gorgeously painted horror comics, it's just amazing.
Jamie would like both of those Lady Killers, and I'm kind of hoping that we have extra copies because I want to read it now.
I think we've got another volume 1, and that is all there's been, just the 2 volumes.
Okay, so I'm gonna widen it out to all 3. So, yeah, whatever anybody wants to look at. If you have another issue that you want to see up close, while we do that, I have fan casting.
Fan casting?
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night.
Uh-huh.
Who are we casting?
Tyler Hoechlin.
Okay, I think he's done enough of that. And he's busy.
I was trying to provoke that response. You gave me what I wanted.
Just indignant fury about an MTV drama.
Yes.
Yeah, he's busy.
Now I know who that. I was like,
he's busy being Clark.
Like one of the best, like Clark Kent's on screen.
Yes, he's good.
I'm very excited for Lois and Clark too. It's called Clark and Lois, but.
So yeah.
Very good.
Okay. Benicio del Toro.
Yet another movie that, if the studio stayed out of it, it would have been good.
Who is the kid who played Cannonball in the new New Mutants movie? Because I think that guy would have been a good Jack
Is it
Russell.
the dude from Stranger Things?
I do not remember.
Guy with the forehead and the blank stare?
I haven't actually seen the movie. I've just heard a lot of good things about how. I'm gonna look this up really quick.
I'm gonna go with Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he can play any role. You just need CGI.
No, the guy who it was an FX show about comics where he's crazy.
Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him.
That guy.
That
yeah.
guy.
He's just phenomenal. He can do anything. He's actually back when Noah Hawley, who wrote Legion, the show, he wrote a Doctor Doom script for Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposedly like the best script ever. And like when I heard about that, I was like, man, that guy would be a great Reed Richards.
No, you know it's going to Krasinski.
Yep.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah,
this
this was 5 years ago.
No, they knew then. No.
So the actor I was thinking of from New Mutants is Charlie Heaton.
Okay, I think that's the Stranger Things guy.
Okay.
The older brother.
Oh, okay. I've not seen Stranger Things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on a path similar to fan casting, any like predictions for WandaVision? Things or at the very least things we want to happen, if not things we think will happen.
House of M.
I mean, my one issue with that is how can you have House of M if you haven't had the X-Men yet?
Cut out the middleman.
Make it.
They don't want to use the word mutant. There's no more mutants. How about that?
I mean, they can use it now because
Just do the inverse and make it home of M, where all the mutants are invited.
That would be great. My one thing I would like to see is a single X character other than Wanda make an appearance. I don't care in what capacity, even if it's just a cameo of like
Of an open door.
Yeah.
Jamie would like to see the Claremont anniversary, and Dalton wants to get that Harrow count.
All right. You want to tell us again about this Chris Claremont?
Yes, absolutely. So the base concept is Danielle Moonstar, aka Mirage, gets a ordeal from Hela, the Norse goddess of death, who and this ordeal takes her across the Marvel universe, where she encounters characters who have been written by Chris Claremont.
Yeah, so it's a new Chris Claremont story featuring tons of new artwork by a variety of artists.
It's beautiful, and
including Sienkiewicz.
Yes, and if you like Chris Claremont phonetic accents, oh boy, is this an issue for you. There are some singers. I know that I genuinely love Chris Claremont phonetic accents.
Give me an example.
I'm not going to speak it up. I'm not going to speak it out loud. But the way he writes Gambit's accent just makes me laugh every time. I love me some bad Cajun accents as written by Chris Claremont.
And this is a one-shot. It's just a special release Marvel decided to hook up.
It's unclear if this will affect anything, but I'm leaning towards probably not.
Probably not.
So if you just want to read some fun Chris Claremont stuff, this is a great story for it. Some of the characters that appear include Rogue, Gambit, Carol Danvers as Binary, and the Fantastic Four.
Is it 32 pages? Or is it bigger?
Did you count?
I did not. 32 sounds right.
That's the standard.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, sorry.
It's not an oversized.
It is a little larger than that because it's a $4.99 price tag instead of the $3.99.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly not a 100-page or a 64-page one.
It might be like 40.
Jamie wants it.
Good choice, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Next time, count the pages.
Okay, I'm going to go back to there for just another minute.
More fan casting, huh?
Old Bruce Wayne.
Old Bruce Wayne. Clint Eastwood.
Stop it.
Terry Funk.
Terry Funk. First, we'd have to make sure he knew how to act.
He's been in a couple movies. In bit parts. For those of you that don't know, Terry Funk is a hardcore legend in professional wrestling.
He's like 80 years old.
Exactly.
And he still takes like nails to the head.
Yeah.
He's insane.
Paul Bearer. How about that?
He's dead.
Yeah, Paul Bearer is literally
Poor
dead.
taste, Rose.
Rose being in poor taste. Never.
Do we have another copy of the Claremont special?
We do.
Yes.
We do have another copy if anybody else is interested.
Dead.
Oh,
Not for Devin.
dead. Oh.
No. He's not allowed to have one. That's why I meant.
Oh, okay.
You know who I want to see kind of as old Bruce Wayne, but he's not old enough yet? David Harbour.
Oh yeah.
He's just.
And you haven't watched
Looks
Stranger
crunchy.
Things.
No.
Okay, but that
Probably the best thing he's ever
I have
been in.
I on a similar vein, David Harbour is Wolverine.
He's
He's
too
too
tall.
tall. Sabretooth.
Okay, yeah,
Sabretooth.
you're right. Sabretooth would
He
be
could
better.
totally be Sabretooth.
I mean, you could like edit David Harbour to be a foot shorter.
Sure. Sure you could. Just
Um,
have him sitting down in all of his scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's an obvious Hollywood casting, like Bruce Willis as old Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, that's something a
But-
terrible producer would do.
But that could never work because he like
has hair.
he has like this policy where he will only film for one day these days.
I'm sure if they paid him enough.
Green screen CGI.
The only
Yeah.
movie he
Body doubles.
worked more than that was fucking Glass, which was not a good movie.
Old Bruce Wayne.
Old Bruce Wayne. For some reason, I just can't think of old people.
They're not worth their thoughts.
Anthony Hopkins.
Harrison Ford.
Michael Caine.
Okay.
I think Harrison Ford could do it. He just wouldn't.
No, you
You would-
Slam the door.
unless,
Yeah.
unless he could get high on set all day long
And wear an earring.
and break his foot.
Yeah, sure. All right. I've got one more.
Okay.
This one's hard.
Okay.
Ravencroft.
The institution.
Yep. Location. Fantastic.
New Orleans.
Just
Any random building.
any building in New Orleans.
God, where? What is the name of it? There was a building back when I lived in New York that would have been perfect, and I cannot remember where it was.
The house from Casper.
The House of Mystery.
I don't know buildings.
Maybe,
I'm not an architect.
maybe just have the House of Secrets be Ravencroft.
Some old church. That'd be cool.
Sure. All right. All of New Orleans. Some
Yeah.
old church.
Yeah.
We got
A
it.
building in New York. I
We
can't
got this.
remember.
Yeah. As long as it's made of stone and looks creepy.
You do a lot with fake cobwebs.
Yeah.
All right. I think that wraps us up because we're getting loopy, and we've covered books, comics.
We haven't covered my Doctor Who cup, which we sell here at the store for $12.
And you can have Paul's for 13.
I don't think anyone would want Paul's.
Thanks, Vanna.
It's a good cup. I like
It's a
it.
great cup.
If I didn't already have a Power Rangers one, I'd consider it.
Some cool books coming out next week. I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My brain hasn't worked that far in the future.
Always.
What?
Anything else, guys?
I am ready to go home.
Well, we just finished annual inventory,
Oh yeah,
so we're all
My-
kind
my-
of wiped.
my sleep schedule is completely off because I've been here overnight a couple nights
Oh no.
for
Here's a-
10 to 14 hour intervals,
Paul.
which is why we had a lot of older books that we've already showed because I have not had any time to go through books and find new stuff.
But we are making concentrated effort to really try to dig through some
Yes.
of those old books. We can get some hidden gems from there. We're making slow but sure progress.
Slow but sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's it.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody. Join us next week.
Mm-hmm.